Hi, Kate here from the Safeguarding Academy and welcome to this 5-minute masterclass. This week I want to talk to you about the role of the agency decision maker. Those of you who are unfamiliar with how a local authority works in relation to child protection may not know that the final decision for any action taken rests not with the social worker but with a council hierarchy. And the agency decision maker is a key part of that hierarchy. In a nutshell, the local authority can't issue proceedings just on the say-so of a social worker. There will be a group who will meet, who will make that decision, and then ultimately, should the plan be one of placement of a child away from the family, then the person who has the ultimate say-so in that decision is the agency decision maker. They have overall responsibility to consider the evidence the local authority has produced, so the social worker has produced, to consider the significant documentation that will have to be submitted by a social worker if they're considering adoption as a long-term plan for a child. And ultimately, they are the ones who will say whether or not a local authority is going to pursue a long-term plan, either of adoption or long-term foster care, or potentially, depending on the way the local authority is structured, a long-term placement away from birth parents or the main carer. So they have a huge role to take on. It's a very significant role that they need to fulfill, and it's a role that isn't ever taken lightly. An agency decision maker is ultimately the person who will make the decision that a plan is either in the best interests of a child as far as the local authority is concerned, or it isn't. Now, if you're within court proceedings, ultimately that decision will be made by a judge or by magistrates. It isn't the agency decision maker who is saying that will be the final outcome, but rather the agency decision maker is agreeing or not to the plan that the local authority is putting forward. And if it's in agreement, then there are further steps that will be taken which will allow a local authority to pursue that particular plan. So the ADM, or agency decision maker, in any authority is the person who will stamp or approve a local authority's long-term plan. If you want more information in relation to how local authorities work or in relation to child protection, then head over to thesafeguardingacademy.com, as we've a whole host of free information on the site to help you with your training or your knowledge development.